Evening Facebook.
Hi everyone.
Hope you've all had a good Sunday, and welcome any replay viewers as well. As usual, we ask you just to hashtag replay in the comments for us. Always love. Oh, you didn't tag me.
No. There you go. Done now.
Hope all is well.
Stu.
Hope everyone's had a fabulous weekend. When I come on Sunday nights is when we like to jump on, say hi, and we talk about a few things. And got a few things that we want to share tonight with you all. Something you can adapt into whatever business you're in your daily life.
Hey Claire.
Anyone can do this.
Let us know what you've been up to today in the comments.
And let us know where you're tuning in from.
Hey SJ.
So, there's been a few things that have prompted us to do this live tonight. And we'll come on to those in a little while. We won't be on too long either, because we've got a good live tonight as well in the group, which I'm looking forward to. So, it's going to come down to what you think about most of the time you attract. Now, this can be from a financial standpoint. This can be anything, okay? But if you're focusing on trying to get money, a lot of the time what you're thinking is that you're actually thinking that you're poor or thinking that you've got a lack of money. So what you end up doing is you attract more of that to you, more lack of finances to you. It just comes. That's how it happens. And it's something, it really comes down to the fact that you almost need to see yourself with the money. Does that make sense? For you to start attracting it into your life. And it can happen in anything, really.
So the same can be said for conflict. Like, if you don't like conflict, and that's what you're thinking about, actually you're attracting more conflict. You're bringing it to you rather than getting rid of it. You're holding it there, so you're attracting that conflict to you, and you're subconsciously attracting it because it's in the back of your mind, so you don't even realise that that's what you're doing, and then you're wondering why all of these things are happening, why you've got the neighbour next to you or having an argument, or why you it's because you don't want that to happen, and subconsciously that's what you're projecting. You don't want it. You don't want to have that conversation. You don't want to have that.
It's true, and this has definitely happened to me. I know it's
happened to both of us.
It's true.
And it wasn't until we went on something that we actually realised, and we were like, light bulb moment. Hold on, we've been retracting all of this.
It really is true, and it is. It's like that. That adage that this is from personal experience now. I've never wanted to, like, if you're eating in a restaurant, right? I'm one of those people that if you're eating in a restaurant and your food comes and it's not quite hot enough, right? It's not to your satisfaction. I'm definitely one of those people that does not like to complain. I don't like it. I don't want the conflict. Well, actually, what that does, in a silly way, but it's true, is that creates more conflict issues into your life. Does that make sense? You get more of that because you're focusing so much on the fact that you don't want to have the argument, have the disagreement. And it's not until you actually do take a step back and someone actually, like you said, it's a light bulb moment that when you actually really analyse what's going on, it's true.
I'll let you finish.
Well, I'm done.
We're getting good at this. I actually had a conversation with somebody, and let's put it into a relationship perspective. So she was somebody that has had a couple of bad relationships. So before she'd even met a guy, she was projecting onto that guy the way every other guy had been to her before. So she was basically setting the relationship up to fail from the start. And that's what we're talking about, attracting and stuff. Like, if you have to put an end on something to then start afresh. You can't be projecting stuff from the past onto your future, because that's what you're going to create. Yes, you can learn from your past. That 100% true. You do learn from your past, but you cannot project your past onto your future. I did a post recently about the past and getting it go, and yes, there's an element of your past that you do that does encourage you to grow. It is a part of you. It does change you, but you don't want to project that onto your future. Now, personally, subconsciously, that's what I've been doing, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's where I'm not going to live in my past, because my past was a bit shitty. We all know part of that, some of you on here. So I'm not going to want to live in that. I don't want to project that onto my future. I've already done that through different avenues. So until you truly bury it, let go, and move forward, you're not going to see those results that you want in your future, because it's there. As much as you want to say it's not there, if you don't acknowledge it and you don't journal it out, you don't do something to get rid of it, tell somebody, talk to somebody, if you hold on to it, your future, it puts a lid on your future.
And and like I said, you know, I did a live on my profile a number of weeks ago now, and it was talking about that negative thinking, that negative mindset, and I used the football analogy of like the FA Cup final, for example, and I used my dad as a prime example, and it wasn't until I'd actually sort of sat there and listened to him for the last 20 minutes of that game, he so wanted his team to get an equaliser, but all he was doing was saying, "Oh, they'll never get an equaliser with him on the pitch," and it was terrible to listen to. And if you got that, no, just because he changes his mindset doesn't mean they're going to get an equaliser. But what he's doing is it's just attracting it to happen less. Like there's less chance of it happening. Does that make sense? So from that point of view, you know, again, when you've come into that negative mindset, and I spoke about how I'd grown up in that environment for sort of a 20-odd year period, you know, and it was drummed into me, you know, always being that pessimistic person, always putting money away for a rainy day, you know, and then all of a sudden when I've spent it all, you know, because it was on stuff, all of a sudden I had that poor mentality, because I'm like, actually I've not got the money in the bank anymore, I've not got the savings anymore, and all it did was attract things to go wrong. And that was back in 2013. I have shared that on a live video before, and that is true story. That's true story to us, and it wasn't until I went on the same course that Liz alluded to earlier that actually I worked it out. I worked out that is, and don't get me wrong, we're not perfect in any way, shape or form. We're not sitting here saying that we are masters at this at all. What we're doing is sharing with you that actually we're still on that same journey, but we've recognised it. Yeah. The fact we've recognised it, many people would never recognise that fact. So it does have a knock-on effect.
But also when in 2011, when we found out that we were pregnant with our little girl, actually where we were full of love, we brought in that abundance into our lives, and like we've seen it from both angles. We have seen it change. It work. On a different scale. And we've seen it work for us, and we've seen it work against us as well. And that's how we know that it does work. Yeah. And it's not just those two scenarios. There are a few scenarios that you can go back to, and it does fully work. And it's all about you, and it always comes back to mindset. And Wayne hates this, but it really does always come back to mindset and what you're feeding your mind. And it's not always easy. No, it's not. But there are ways and means and things that you need to do to make it easier. It's like there's a few networkers on here, so let's talk about if you have a scarcity mindset with team members. Like, team members come and go. That's what happens. Like, of course we all want to keep the same team, but the truth of it is we don't. That because life happens for them, life happens for you. People don't always then connect to you, or their journeys end up being different to you. So people come and go, and that's why you you need to keep moving. You need to keep finding new people and bringing them into your team. There's loads of people out there that you can help. I mean, how many people are there in the UK, let alone the world? So if you've got the scarcity mindset of, oh, someone's just poached my team member, or so-and-so's just done this, you're not going to attract more people. You're just going to attract people going. And I think everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through it for something in their life, that there's a scarcity mindset for something. But it's just about how you kind of, you can elaborate a little bit. I've kind of lost it.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what she's trying to say on a man perspective is, if you're worried about team members leaving, all you're actually going to do is attract team members to leave. At some stage they're going to go. Whereas if you just love on them and you work on showing them and leading by example, showing them how to run their business, let's face it, if they're earning money, they're not going anywhere. That's simple. So that's what Elizabeth, from a guy's perspective, that's what Elizabeth was just trying to elaborate on, trying to say.
It's just not giving up as well.
Yeah, that's right. Now,
and also I think that's what I wanted to add.
Oh, you cut me
Sorry.
off.
Is, yes, people. It's a big thing that I hate, and that's fake people. I cannot. I seem to be able to pick them out a mile off, and I've been a bit off actually the last few months. There's a few people that have got through and I didn't realise, but it's a learning curve for me, and actually I'm grateful, because everything that's happened this year I'm grateful for. I'm truly grateful for everything that's happened to us over the last year. It has been a massive personal growth for both of us, and I'm grateful for that. But yes, there's the element of people talking to people, but when you are fake and you're trying to make someone believe that something's better than it is, there's a positive mindset, and I agree with a positive mindset, but not a fake positive mindset where you are blowing something up to be something that it's not just yet. And there's using it to your advantage, but there's also leading that person to believe that it's something that it's not. And that is also why you get a lack of retention in your business
100%.
or with other things. If you lead someone round to say that you've got, I'm going to use one of Wayne's analogies, you've got Wayne Rooney coming round for dinner, and actually Wayne Rooney's not here, you just wanted to get them round, like, they're not going to want to come round next time, are they? Because you've just basically lied to them.
Yeah, it's not the way to start. It's not the way to start anyone off.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know exactly why you went down that avenue just there. Basically, what we're saying on here is there's no need to be fake by putting out the positive vibe out there, trying to attract that positive outcome, rather than thinking the negative is going to come towards you. So from that perspective, exactly what you were just saying, there's no need to be fake. You can still be real, you can still tell it how it is, but you don't need to pretend that something is what it's not, because actually when they join, what happens is they're like, well, you lied to me, it's not that. And equally, on the same token... And you've just
taken someone away from someone else's business.
Potentially, not always, but no, if you're selling it like it's like this it's easy to do, and you can do this, and you can do, or if you're hyping up a new thing, for example. We've spoken about this before, and not many people like it, certainly from certain corners of our network. They don't like us when we talk about this, but essentially, if you're hyping a new thing up, for example, that doesn't create retention, because the people that come in later on down the line, they haven't got that luxury of having to hype the new thing up. So how are you going to teach them? You need to learn the skills and the ability on how to promote, how to sell, how to recruit. It's really, really important to do that. You're never ever going to learn. You need to learn a new way, because it's ridiculous. And what's prompted this live tonight is there's a few things that happened the other day, and we really did sit back and watch.
We kept tab.
And we kept fully out of it. But when here's my take on it. I don't agree with anything that went on the other day on certain posts. People may or may not know what I'm talking about. There was some not nice things said, which I don't agree with. It's unnecessary to be doing it in public. You never air your dirty laundry in public. Never condone that at all. But what was said, some of it, I'm going to say this now, there's no smoke without fire. If people have got proof, then they've got proof. Simple, all right? But what I will say is, coming back to topic, if you're promoting a business has got a non-bullying policy or an anti-bully policy, two things. One, it's like, if that's all you've got to shout about your company has an anti-bullying policy, I'd be concerned. I'd be concerned because, one, every company of any decency should have that in terms and conditions or an affiliate's code of conduct. So that's the first thing that I'd be looking at. If you're trying to say that you're the only company out there that's got an anti-bullying policy, then I think you need to wake up. Secondly, back to topic, if you're saying that and there's a lot of posts going on about anti-bullying this, anti-bullying that. Now, what that is attracting is bullies, in my opinion. Now, because you keep going on about it, that's all you're going to attract. And it comes back to topic like we've been talking about tonight on different scales. But that's essentially what that is saying to me. And again, if people just open their eyes and see what's going on, they'll absolutely categorically know exactly what we're talking about here. Because when you're associating yourself with certain people that all you see and watch on their public profile is digs at people, digs at other companies, negative statements going around all the time, and just pure bullying, but they've got an anti-bullying policy, I'm sorry, I'd have to just ask the question, what on earth? I'm sorry, I've read it all now. So that's our take on things, of what we read. I don't know if you've got anything to add, but like I just said, you attract what you don't want. And if you're keeping on giving out the message that you've got an anti-bullying policy, seriously, wake up, Every company will have that, every company. You got anything to add to that? Or are you keeping quiet?
I'm kind of.
At the end of the day, it needed to be said because,
I'm kind of keeping quiet.
People,
I'm not sure what I'm going to say.
Like, I've seen so many posts this week about this so-called thing, and it's like, what? Like, you do not need to. If you've got to promote the fact that your company has this anti-bullying procedure, I'm sorry, you need to find something else to shout about.
Also, I think if there's something that's happened to you and you can see that it's repeating itself, then you've got to sort yourself out, basically. Like, if there's history repeating itself, then you actually have to look at yourself and think, why the effing is that happening to me again? I've got to sort myself out, because it's happening because you have projected that onto you. As much as it's hard to look at, and you don't want to think of yourself as the problem when you're not the problem. It's just your thinking is the problem. So you've got to look at it and say, why has that just happened to me again? Like, what have I done? What did they do? And own up to your mistakes. Like, literally own up to them. Say, oh, I was going to swear. Like, actually, I've done wrong here. I will hold my hands up, and yes, I did X, Y, Z, and that led to that outcome. I've just put that onto myself. So if you are always looking to blame somebody, there's no growth. There's no growth in you as a person, and there's not going to be any growth around you because you're looking for a way out. You have to look within and look at what you have done to contribute to that. And I'm not saying that situation at that time you actually contributed to, but your actions that led up to that probably contributed to it. So at some point you have to grow up and you have to say, I did that.
Take ownership for your actions. Simple.
I hold my hands up. I caused that. I need to look at this, this and this and work on this and this and grow.
And move forward as a business, as a person. But yeah, okay. I mean, look, I think we're done tonight.
I think so. I think we've kind of went a bit off track there, so sorry. As always.
Yeah, it's nearly 9 o'clock. I think we've got a good live coming on in the group tonight. We've got our CEO coming on now to make some announcements, which will be lovely. And just want to thank you all for jumping on tonight and staying on. I know we've been on for about 20, 25 minutes or whatever it is, but no, really appreciate you guys for coming on Sunday night, and we look forward to seeing you in the week.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.